Hello class 11 students. We have seen that Macbeth has committed regicide, that is murdering the king, and that is not only has he killed the king, but he has killed a sleeping person. Sleep that nourishes life, and so his inner conscience told him that Macbeth shall sleep no more. Now, Macbeth thus returned to his wife, who by now had started to think that he had failed in his objective. He came in such a distracted state that he reproached him for his want of resoluteness and sent him to wash his hands of the blood that stained him. So, Lady Macbeth, since Macbeth, was he was delayed in coming. So Lady Macbeth thought that maybe Macbeth has not been able to fulfill his mission. And when Macbeth came, he was in a totally very distracted, in a very disturbed state of mind, and for which Lady Macbeth scolded him that you should be very normal so that people don't suspect us. And she told him to go and wash his hands. Meanwhile, she took the dagger to stain the cheeks of the grooms with the blood in order to make it seem their guilt. So, what Lady Macbeth did was she framed the grooms for the murderers. She framed the grooms as murderers. She smeared their cheeks with the blood. Day broke, and with it was the discovery of the murder. And though Macbeth and his wife showed their utmost grief, and the evidence of the murder was sufficiently strong against the grooms, yet the entire suspicion fell upon Macbeth. So, as soon as it was morning, everybody came to know that the king was killed. And though Macbeth and Lady Macbeth made an outward show of that they were very sad and shocked and grief in that way, but all the proof were against the grooms, but everybody the whole of suspicion fell upon Macbeth. Duncan's two sons fled immediately. So two of the sons of Duncan, they escaped. Malcolm the elder sought refuge in the English court, while Donalbain, the younger son, fled to Ireland. So Malcolm went to England and Donalbain went to Ireland. With the death of the king, the throne being vacated and the sons being unavailable, Macbeth, who was their next heir, was crowned the King of Scotland. Thus, the prediction of the weird sisters was literally accomplished. So, as the sons of Duncan escaped, so there was no other person. The next person was Macbeth, who became the king, and literally every word of the witches of the third witch came true. Macbeth and his queen could not forget the prophecy of the weird sister that though Macbeth would be the king, but the children of Banquo and not Macbeth would be the kings after him. So now that they have become the king and queen, they should have been happy with that. They should have stopped with that. But no. Now they wanted to negate the prophecy the witches made about Banquo, because the witches had said that Banquo would himself not be the king of Scotland, but his future sons will become the king of Scotland. And Macbeth and Lady Macbeth did not want that. They wanted that their sons should become the king of Scotland. The thought that they had defiled their hands, means they had soiled their hands with blood by committing regicide, as have been written. Regicide means killing of the king. only to place the posterity of Banquo upon the throne, had rankled within them. Posterity means future sons. So it pained them, it annoyed them, okay, to think that Banquo's sons would become the king of Scotland. So this decided to kill Banquo and his son Fleance to nullify the prediction of the weird sisters. Now, what did they decide? They plotted to murder Banquo and Fleance so that the predictions of the witches will not come true, so as to negate the predictions of the witches. For this purpose, they arranged a banquet to which they invited all the chief thanes along with Banquo and Fleance. Macbeth appointed some hired assassins and beset them on the way Banquo and son were supposed to pass. The assassins pounced upon them and killed Banquo, but Fleance managed to escape. So, in order to kill Banquo and Fleance, what did Macbeth and Lady Macbeth do? They plotted the murder of them. For that, they arranged for a banquet, and they called all the thanes. They called all the chief thanes and all the high-ranking officials, and along with that, they called Banquo and his son Fleance. What Macbeth did was he hired killers and he set them on the along the way through which Banquo and Fleance were supposed to come. What happened was, these assassins or these killers, as soon as they were passing through, this Banquo and Fleance were passing through that place, they just fell upon both of them. Banquo was killed, but his son Fleance escaped. Meanwhile, Macbeth and his wife played the role of a perfect host with affable and graceful manners that conciliated everyone present in the banquet. That is, in the banquet, they behaved or they played a very good host, and their friendly and affable means their friendly manners pleased everybody, and to some extent they were kind of being able to pacify the murder of Duncan. Macbeth discoursed means talked freely with the thanes and noblemen, and regretted the absence of his dearest friend Banquo. So Macbeth spoke very freely, but he said that I'm very sad that my dear friend Banquo has not turned up yet. No sooner did he lament for his friend whom he was missing in the banquet, Macbeth saw the ghost of Banquo occupying the seat reserved for him. Occupying the seat reserved from him means the place which was reserved for Macbeth. Okay, so the ghost of Banquo went and sat there. At this horrible sight, his cheeks became white with fear, and he stood quite unmannered with his eyes fixed upon the ghost. So Macbeth was totally taken aback, and he couldn't believe his eyes. I know that Banquo is already dead. How come Banquo is coming and sitting on my chair? His queen and other nobles saw nothing but perceived means saw him gazing upon an empty chair. So everybody saw that the king is looking at an empty chair. They took it to be a fit of distraction, and Lady Macbeth even reproached him and told him it was the same fancy which made him see the dagger in the air when he was about to murder Duncan. So Lady Macbeth scolded him and said that it's all your illusion. There's no Banquo here. It's just like you've seen the dagger before murdering Duncan. In the same way, this is also happening. But Macbeth continued to visualize the ghost. Visualize means continue to see the ghost of Banquo, and gave no heed to all the noblemen could see, and addressed the ghost in distracted words. So he did not pay any attention to what anybody was saying. He kept on seeing the ghost, and then he started talking in a very disturbed manner. Lady Macbeth, fearing the dreadful secret would be disclosed, in great haste dismissed the guest, excusing the infirmity of Macbeth. So, making an excuse of Macbeth's health, Lady Macbeth dismissed all the guests. We stop here today. We'll do the rest of it in the next class. Thank you.